Elizabeth Cotton, the great folk lyricist and musician, once said
that through all the days of joy and celebration, through all the dark days of tears and mourning, the horse has always been with us. I don't know if this is true, but it was true for my grandpa.
My name is Arlie Desjardins, and the story I chose to tell today was my grandfather's first attempt to break a horse unsupervised. He lives, don't worry, but it doesn't work out. So my grandfather was born on a homestead on the Cat's Back in Wallowa County, just over those mountains, that way. And he had 6 brothers and 1 sister, total of 8 children. And they lived essentially in the middle of nowhere. And one day, their parents decided to go into town for some reason. I think it was like grocery shopping, I don't know. So they hitch up a wagon and they take their horses in, leaving Uncle Manfred, great Uncle Manfred, his grandpa's older brother, in charge. And not a couple of days before, the father, my great-grandfather, bought this horse. Grandpa always said it was like a black stallion, or really dark. And I don't know if he was being stylish or if that's true. But anyway, big-ass horse. Sorry about swearing. And great Uncle Manfred gets this idea to break this horse to ride before Dad gets home. And my grandpa thinks this is a marvelous idea. They do it. So they somehow manage to rope the beast and get it into a corral. And my grandpa thinks that Manfred's gonna hop on. Manfred does not. Manfred has thought it through and says, you know what? You should get on that horse because you're younger than me and smaller. And if the horse gets away from you, I'll have an easier time of catching it. And so, Grandpa's scared as hell, of course, but he doesn't want to show it, and he agrees that, yeah, this is pretty sound reasoning. And so, he gets on the horse, somehow. And for a second, the horse is still. It doesn't move. It's just like, bewildered. Why is this thing sitting on me? And then it decides that it does not like being sat on. And all hell breaks loose. It kicks, it bucks, it jumps and rams itself against the gate. Somehow the gate gets open, and the horse gets out into the pasture, which would be fine. It's fine. But this time, the pasture gate is open. And so pretty soon, the horse figures that out and goes out that gate into the world with my grandpa on top. They go running through pastures and over hills and through meadows that my grandpa has never seen, and these are his stomping grounds, so he knows he's pretty well lost. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the parents get home late that afternoon, and none of the kids tell them that my grandpa is missing with this horse. Eventually the parents figure it out, but it takes a little while. And then the dad decides to get together a search party with all the neighbors. Of course he's mad as hell, but he figures that out. He gets a search party, and my grandpa hears them shouting for him, but the horse is just quieted down and is just grazing nicely. And he can't yell back because he's so afraid that the horse will just jump up and start running again. So he stays quiet, even though the search party's near enough to hear him. So anyway, this lasts all day and all night. Everyone goes back home thinking he's lost forever. And the horse decides that it's fun and it's time to go home. So it wanders on home. And the dad sees the horse in the pasture. So he quietly creeps down and he closes the gate of the pasture. Then he gets on his horse and runs up next to my grandpa's horse. And they run around and around and around a little while. Eventually they're alongside each other. And great-grandpa manages to lean over and yoink, grab grandpa right off the horse. He's saved, it's fine, yay! And it all ends happily. Uncle Manfred got a pretty severe beating for, like, that foolish notion. My grandpa is let off relatively lightly because he went through such an ordeal and he's so scared now. And then, what else? And they sold the horse. Never ended up keeping it. So what did we learn? Sure, not to take on tasks beyond our ability. No way could that group of children, my grandpa and my great-uncle Manfred, take on the task of breaking a horse unsupervised. But there's something else we learned as well. Not to get discouraged, despite our failures. My grandpa ended up training, breaking, and riding horses for the rest of his life. My great-uncle Manfred bred work horses for a good portion of his. Both men kept horses well into their twilight years. They had this experience, and I'm sure it left a mark on them. But they kept horses anyway. Perhaps because of necessity of the time, but also because they were that strong, you know? So, don't let the things that frighten you hold you back.
We're here on Foothill Road, at the edge of Lad Marsh, a pretty cool project done here in LeGrand, where we incorporate the marsh with our wastewater treatment plant and provide habitat for waterfowl and other kinds of birds. It's a really cool project, and if you want more information on it, they got lots on the internet. It's really cool though, I promise. By the way, none of the film or recordings you see in this video are of Wallowa County or even the Cat's Back. Actually, it's just over those mountains in the distance. That's, I want to say, right over there on the other side of that are the eagle caps, which is kind of cool. But anyway, none of what you see here is of the area I'm talking about. It's just like a cousin to that area. My grandpa was born in the Wallowa Whitman forest, which extends all the way this way. Like, it counts, I swear.